So, trying to make a post for Ethical Geo. And I went on Instagram and I saw that a bunch of people just make videos where they're just walking around talking to their phone. So here I am talking about the ethics of geography. In a world where we're unsure about the legal implications of gerrymandering, the ethical implications are clear. We have to find a way to counteract these unethical uses of geospatial technology. In the case of gerrymandering, I've seen plenty of people who have made good proposals on how we should counteract them. I'll talk about something else. Let's look at refugee camps. Citing where refugee camps and the concerns that it has apply to many, many topics, but I can use that throughout my case. It wasn't so long ago that the data tools and expertise to cite likely locations of refugee camps were not widely available. In fact, when I started my career, this was the case. I had a background in looking for things like refugee camps locations, looking at disaster response, and using overhead imagery to do those things. But nobody else had access to the data, the tools, the expertise that I had at that time. And so we didn't have to worry that much about misuse of that analysis. But now this data is widely available and it covers the Earth on a daily basis. The tools have been democratized via the web, and all manner of individuals can perform analysis on the shared results. Of course, the findings can be wildly flawed if performed incorrectly by an untrained user, but this represents its whole own course of ethical issues when shared that I'll save for a different discussion. The spread of the tools for mapping and analysis on the web has increased the availability and coverage of spatial data, particularly from overhead. And in many cases, these abilities were only once sparsely available, but have now created their own resulting ethical issues as this spreads across the community. The implications of widely publicizing locations of refugee camps in a democratized web-mapping world is immense. People could use this for good or for bad. In a previous history, where this was only available to a small population, we could be assured that this would only be used in the ways, hopefully, that we intended. But now, even with hope, we can't remain in that mindset. We have to accept that uses of this data might be for ill gains, not for the positive gains we intended.
I got it.
So, now, on top of that, let's add deep learning, machine learning, artificial intelligence. The equation's just gotten much more complicated. Now we have the ability to truly exploit the massive data that's being collected on a daily, weekly, monthly basis from satellites, from airplanes, from drones. And we can do this for good or for bad. And our intentions may not align with our outcomes, but that's irrelevant to the ethics. So, transparency is clearly a key part of this. How do we make sure that people know what's going on? Access is clearly a part of this. How do we make sure that those who are at risk and those who are making decisions have access to the same data? But much more is going to be required than that, and I don't have all the answers right now. But we need to look at opportunities to make sure those impacted by these decisions, by these data, by these analyses, will have insights and will be able to talk with responsible decision makers. We'll be able to talk with others to find out ways to ensure the ethical use of these practices and to make sure that no one is left out in the cold.